There is a specific, hollow kind of loneliness that exists only within the confines of a relationship. It is far heavier than the solitude of being single, because it is accompanied by the constant, gnawing confusion of unrequited effort. You are there, physically present, pouring your energy into a vessel that seems to have no bottom, wondering why the connection feels less like a partnership and more like a solitary struggle to be seen. When you are with a woman who does not value you, the signs are rarely sudden explosions of malice. Rather, they are subtle erosions of your dignity, small thefts of your peace that accumulate until you find yourself spiritually bankrupt. Recognizing these behaviors is not merely about relationship advice. It is about the preservation of your soul. By applying the ancient wisdom of Stoicism, you can learn to see these painful realities not as tragedies, but as objective data, signals that require a rational, dignified response rather than an emotional collapse. The first and perhaps most precious currency you spend in this life is your time. It is the one asset that, once spent, can never be refunded. A woman who does not value you will instinctively treat your time as an infinite, disposable resource. You may find yourself constantly waiting for her to arrive, waiting for a reply, waiting for a slot in her schedule that she might begrudgingly grant you. This is not merely a matter of poor time management on her part. It is a statement of priority. When she frequently cancels plans without notice or leaves you in a state of perpetual limbo, she is communicating a fundamental truth. She views her comfort as superior to your existence. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor-philosopher, famously admonished himself to waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be, but to simply be one. In this context, the Stoic response to a woman who disrespects your time is not to argue, beg, or scold. It is to recognize that a good man respects his own life too much to squander it in waiting rooms of someone else's making. If you find yourself constantly adjusting your life to accommodate her whims, while she makes no effort to accommodate yours, you are not in a relationship. You are in servitude. The Stoic does not rage against the rain for falling, but he does put up an umbrella or move indoors. Similarly, if she cannot respect the ticking clock of your life, the dignified response is to withdraw your availability, not as a punishment to her, but as an act of preservation for yourself. You must align your actions with the value you place on your own existence. As you navigate the treacherous waters of an undervalued relationship, you may notice a second, more insidious behavior: the systematic undermining of your confidence. A partner is meant to be a buttress against the chaos of the world, a safe harbor where your ambitions are nurtured. However, a woman who does not value you will often act as an anchor, dragging you down with subtle dismissals, constant criticism, or demeaning comparisons to others. She may make jokes at your expense in public, minimize your achievements in private, or fixate on your flaws while ignoring your virtues. This behavior is designed, consciously or unconsciously, to lower your market value in your own eyes, making you feel lucky simply to be in her presence. Here, the teachings of Epictetus become your armor. He taught that it is not the things themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them. When she attempts to erode your self-esteem, the Stoic response is to retreat into your inner citadel. You must realize that her opinion of you is not an objective truth. It is merely a reflection of her own internal state. If her criticisms are valid, you correct them for your own sake. If they are false or malicious, they are akin to the barking of a dog, noise that has no bearing on your character. You must decouple your sense of self-worth from her validation. By maintaining your internal peace, regardless of her external judgments, you reclaim your power. You cease to be a puppet whose strings are pulled by her approval or disapproval. You stand firm in the knowledge of who you are, and in doing so, you render her disparagement ineffective. Beyond the active disrespect of time and confidence lies the passive cruelty of indifference. There is a profound pain in sharing your life with someone who shows no genuine interest in the content of that life. You may find that conversations are perpetually one-sided, revolving entirely around her day, her feelings, and her drama. When you attempt to share your passions, your fears, or your goals, you are met with glazed eyes or a swift subject change. This lack of curiosity is a definitive sign that she does not view you as a complex human being, but rather as a background character in the movie of her life.
To a Stoic, this indifference is a violation of the natural human desire for sympathia, or mutual connection. However, the Stoic does not beg for attention. Begging for interest is the antithesis of dignity. If she ignores your aspirations or dismisses your dreams, you must objectively evaluate the utility of the connection. A relationship, by definition, requires two active participants. If you are the only one rowing the boat, you are merely exhausting yourself while drifting in circles. The Stoic approach is to observe this indifference with clinical detachment. Ask yourself, does this person know me? Do they want to know me? If the answer is no, you must accept this reality without bitterness. You cannot force curiosity, and you should not degrade yourself by performing tricks to gain her attention. Instead, you direct your energy toward your own purpose and toward those who naturally celebrate your existence. You realize that her lack of interest is a reflection of her limited capacity for connection, not a reflection of your unworthiness. Perhaps the most transactional and disheartening behavior is the pattern of her appearing only when she needs something. In this dynamic, you are not a partner, you are a utility. She may vanish for days or weeks when things are going well for her, only to resurface with urgency when she faces a crisis, needs financial assistance, or requires emotional validation. This fair-weather presence is the hallmark of a parasitic attachment. She extracts value from you, your time, your resources, your emotional stability, and offers nothing in return but the fleeting illusion of intimacy. Stoicism teaches us to act with integrity and to help others without expectation of reward. However, it also teaches wisdom and justice. Justice, in the Stoic sense, implies giving everyone what they are due, including yourself. It is unjust to yourself to allow your kindness to be exploited. When you recognize that her outreach is always precipitated by a need, you are seeing the machinery of the relationship for what it is. It is a mechanism of extraction. The Stoic response is not to become cold or cruel, but to establish boundaries of steel. You must learn to say no and observe the reaction. A person who values you will respect your boundary. A person who uses you will become angry or vanish. By refusing to be a tool for her convenience, you force the relationship to reveal its true nature. You stop feeding the dynamic that hurts you. Recognizing these four behaviors, disrespect of time, undermining of confidence, indifference to your life, and transactional interaction, is the first step toward liberation. But the recognition must be followed by the hardest Stoic practice of all, the acceptance of what is not in your control. You cannot control her behavior. You cannot control her feelings. You cannot force her to value you. You can only control your own reasoned choice. Responding like a Stoic means accepting the reality of the situation without the fog of wishful thinking. It means looking at the woman before you and seeing her actions clearly, stripping away the potential you hope she has, and dealing only with the reality she presents. It requires you to understand that staying in a situation where you are undervalued is a choice you are making every day. When you realize the relationship is misaligned with your values, the Stoic does not leave with a dramatic explosion of anger. He does not write long accusatory letters or seek revenge. He simply removes his consent to be treated poorly. He withdraws his attention and his presence. He accepts that the relationship has served its purpose as a lesson in what he does not want, and he moves forward with gratitude for the clarity he has gained. This path requires immense strength. It is difficult to walk away from someone you care about, even when they do not care for you. But as Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The pain of separation is temporary and natural. The pain of remaining in a state of being undervalued is a corrosive poison that will waste your life. Ultimately, valuing yourself is the prerequisite for being valued by others. By adopting a Stoic mindset, you signal to the world and to yourself that you are a man of substance, a man who respects his own time, his own mind, and his own worth. You teach others how to treat you by what you accept and what you reject. If you have found yourself in the shadow of a woman who does not see your worth, step out of that shadow, not with malice, but with the quiet, unshakable confidence of a man who knows that his dignity is not up for negotiation. You deserve a partnership of mutual respect, curiosity, and support. Anything less is a distraction from the life you are meant to lead. Embrace the Stoic path. See the truth, control your response, and walk boldly toward a future where you are valued not for what you can give, but for who you are.